हेलो दिस इज हेलो। हाँ विद्यार्थियों, ये उसी क्रम में ये सेकंड वीडियो है। उसी क्रम में एज आई टोल्ड यू टुडे वी आर रिपीटिंग what has been taught to you in your first year and in your secondary class. So this one is the second step of today's video. Your first poet in your syllabus is Thomas Gray. We have studied Thomas Gray in detail. His poem An Elegy written in a country churchyard is one of the best 5 poems of the English poetry. What is an elegy? An elegy is a song of death. It is a song of lamentation. An elegy is a tribute to someone loved and lost. समझ में आ गया? एलेजी इस प्रकार की कविता है, ये श्रद्धांजलि है प्रियजन के लिए, किसी रिश्तेदार के लिए। लेकिन थॉमस ग्रेज एलेजी इज नॉट ट्रिब्यूट टू समवन इन पर्टिकुलर. दिस पोइम हैज द सीड्स ऑफ डेमोक्रेसी. दिस पोइम हैज द सीड्स ऑफ ए न्यू सिस्टम because it is an artless tale of the unhonored dead. It is a short and simple annals of the poor. This is the history of the poor. The poet tries to establish the honor of the poor. And after all, what is democracy? Democracy is a system in which all human beings are considered equal. And elegy, Thomas Gray's elegy emphasizes equality among human beings. So it is a great poem, it is a very rich poem, and we have done it in detail. This poem is very important for the examination also. Dear students, I have given you 10 explanations as you are to put in the examination. I have given the paraphrases of all stanzas, all 32 stanzas, and this poem has taken almost more than 10 days because it is such a rich poem, and I hope you must have gone through it. I have given you the home assignment as well, but I am sorry to say you are not responding to it. So please go through the elegy and respond to the home assignment given to you. The second poet that we have taken in your syllabus is William Blake. William Blake is a romantic poet, and he is a religious poet. He is a religious poet, and he is also a lover of democracy. He is also a lover of French Revolution. He hates the contemporary system. And there are 2 poems by William Blake in your syllabus, The Tiger and The London. Look at the spelling of the tiger. It is Tyger. Blake has slightly modified the spelling. The poet expresses his wonder how God created such a terrible animal, and is the creator of the tiger also the creator of the lamb? The lamb is so innocent, the tiger is so terrible. So this is also a very wonderful poem and very important poem as well. The second poem in your syllabus by William Blake is The London. The London is an attack on modern civilization. It is a very short poem but very powerful poem. London is the hub of the modern civilization. London is a very rich, educated and prosperous city, but the people are not happy in the city. William Blake says that people cannot be happy in this system because this is the mind-made system. This system is not according to nature, and mind-made system exploit the poor. What do you mean by system? Here system means the political system, the religious system, the social system. All these systems are ugly, dirty and cruel. They they exploit the poor and helpless. So this is the summary what has been taught to you for second year so far. Today I am going to begin with the new poet and very important poet, William Wordsworth. If you look at the bracket, you can see William Wordsworth was born in 1770 and died in 1850. That was the period for William Wordsworth. William Wordsworth, you can look at the first point, is called the father of the English Romantic movement. Wordsworth was not the first romantic poet. Even Gray was a romantic poet. Even Shakespeare was a romantic poet. But William Wordsworth is called the father of the English Romantic movement because he wrote a book, very important book, the preface to the lyrical ballads. The preface introduction to the lyrical ballads. And in this prose book, this is a prose book, Wordsworth redefined poetry, redefined the themes of poetry, and redefined the language of poetry. The book, the famous book, was published in 1798, and this book buried the neoclassical age. This book gave a new direction, a new definition, and a new theory of poetry. That is why this book is called the Bible of the English Romantic movement, and William Wordsworth is called the father and founder of the English Romantic movement. If you look at the definition of poetry, I would like to remind you that what was poetry for John Dryden and Alexander Pope? Poetry was an intellectual exercise, not for Wordsworth, for Dryden and Alexander Pope, for the neoclassical poets. It was a meditated art. It was imitation of rules and regulations. तो दिमाग की चीज है कविता, ऐसा ड्राइडन और पोप मानते थे. लेकिन वर्ड्सवर्थ ने क्या डेफिनेशन दी? लुक एट द वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट डेफिनेशन. पोइट्री इज द spontaneous without any preparation, without any meditation, then and there overflow of powerful feelings. Poetry is the spontaneous overflow of powerful feelings. कंप्लीट पूरी परफेक्ट डेफिनेशन थोड़ी बड़ी है लेकिन मैंने लिखा नहीं है. दैट इज रिकलेक्टेड इन ट्रैंक्विलिटी. सो इट इज a somewhat difficult phrase and unnecessary for you. It is enough for you. What is poetry for William Wordsworth? Poetry is the spontaneous overflow of powerful emotions or feelings. In this manner, Wordsworth challenged the theory of John Dryden and Alexander Pope. For them, poetry was an intellectual exercise. For them, poetry was a meditated art. Meditated means which comes after thought. Now, the second poem, the themes of poetry. Here, Wordsworth again differs from neoclassical poets. For neoclassical poets, what are the suitable themes of poetry? The upper class society, the urban society. लेकिन यहाँ पर वर्ड्सवर्थ ने चेंज कर दिया. क्या कह रहा है? किसके बारे में होनी चाहिए पोइट्री? कॉमन ह्यूमन बीइंग्स लिविंग इन द लैप ऑफ नेचर. Common human beings. Poetry is not about kings and queens and princes and lords and ladies. No, poetry should deal with the common human beings, farmers, grass cutters, milkmaids. They form the theme of poetry because they live in the lap of nature and they are emotional human beings. The third point, थोड़ा सा कम विजिबल है, आप नोट कर सकते हैं. द लैंग्वेज ऑफ पोइट्री. व्हाट इज द लैंग्वेज ऑफ पोइट्री? व्हाट शुड बी द लैंग्वेज ऑफ पोइट्री? फॉर ड्राइडन एंड पोप, द लैंग्वेज ऑफ पोइट्री मस्ट बी डिफिकल्ट. That's why Dryden and Pope worked very hard to make the language of their poetry difficult. But Wordsworth doesn't agree with them. Wordsworth says that the language of common human beings should be the language of poetry, the language of common human beings, because the poetry is for common readers, for common human beings. So these are the three important points about William Wordsworth. He is the father and founder of the English Romantic movement. I am summing up, dear students. I am summing up. Why is William Wordsworth called the father and founder of the English Romantic movement? Because he wrote his book, The Preface to the Lyrical Ballads, which was published in 1798. This book put the neoclassical age to an end and began a new age in the history of English poetry. What did he do in this book? He gave a new definition to poetry. Poetry is the spontaneous overflow of powerful feelings. Secondly, the theme of poetry. Wordsworth suggested that the common human beings living in the lap of nature form the theme of poetry. As far as the language of poetry is concerned, the language of common human beings is proper language for English poetry. So, in this manner, I am coming to the third page. I am going to tell something more about William Wordsworth. William Wordsworth is undoubtedly the father and founder of the English poetry, but he is also the greatest nature poet. Remember, whenever we talk of Wordsworth, we talk of nature, and whenever we talk of nature, we will talk of William Wordsworth. He is the greatest nature poet of all languages and all countries. All languages and all countries. Wordsworth saw in nature. He was the priest of nature. He saw in nature that the others failed to see. For him, nature is all in all. That is why he advises us, let nature be your teacher. Nature is the best teacher. Nature is ours. Nature is alive. Nature has personality. Nature has soul. Mind it. For Wordsworth, nature has soul. Human beings have souls. And the souls of nature and human beings belong to the grand soul, Almighty. Moreover, Wordsworth, like other romantic poets, is the lover of democracy. He is also the lover of French Revolution. He is the poet of childhood also. Because a child is very close to nature. That is why he glorifies childhood. He says, very famous line, the child is the father of man. The child is the father of man. Wordsworth has composed a large number of poems, but there are two poems in your syllabus, in your second year syllabus, The Solitary Reaper and The World is Too Much With Us. So in the next video, I am going to explain these two poems for you. Till then, goodbye. Okay.